What is going on, guys? Today we are looking at the best meta players in each position under 300,000 coins. And we're going to start off with the goalkeepers. Again, we go very quick with the goalkeepers as, to be honest, nothing's really changed. We've added in a few of the icons. Personally, I'm not a big fan of Czech. It is kind of just my personal vendetta with him. That naturally, over the past few years, he just hasn't been the goalkeeper that you want. I've always liked Casillas. Schmeichel in his later versions has always been quite nice, but he is an SBC as well, so you can get him done for very, very cheap. Personal favourites, especially from this list, Courtois, Alisson, Ederson. I'd probably float with any. If you've got any of the keepers on this list or added Van der Sar, maybe a couple more of the 88s, 86s, then you're absolutely fine, but this is what I consider the better ones out of the bunch. In terms of fullbacks though, we've got a good amount of players, and one that you potentially have missed out if you haven't completed her SBC is Baka. She is absolutely cracked. She's got an upgrade coming very soon, which is always nice as well. So I think for me, she has got to be one of the better left backs that we've got, and was an SBC as well. If you haven't, then obviously you've got a counterpart in PSG. You've got... always forget a name. I believe it begins with an S, but I cannot remember her name. But again, another one that could combat potentially the left back scenario if you missed out on Baka. We have then Robertson, as we mentioned last week. We have Theo Hernandez. We have Ferland Mendy now dropping massively to 33. And then we also have Capdevila chilling in the left back role that we've already gone over. In terms of Lodi, a good SBC nonetheless. Potential upgrade ability. I think all of these FC Pro Live are potentially worth doing the SBC in case they get an upgrade. They can get a +4 in the overall, or they could just get a 1 or 2 upgrade if their pro does well in the FC Open. So always worth it, 85,000 coin for a potential 89, but realistically like an 86 or an 87. But nonetheless, very good left back even for this point right now. Going over to the right back, I think Walker for me is still a fan favourite for the cost that he is compared to what we can kind of get back. I'm absolutely all aboard for him. We do have Carvajal added to this list from the triple threat. Not a bad upgrade for him, to be honest. From an 86 rated, decent pace that can obviously add a shadow or an anchor. 82 on the defending, 84 physical, not a problem, with some good dribbling alongside the slide tackle playstyle plus. We have Dodo with another upgrade to an 86. 112,000 coins and a beautiful Serie A right back if you've got him. I think other than Cancelo and Walker, I've got the other two, and I think I haven't packed Hakimi yet. I'm trying to think. I have Llorente as my 87 right back, which is definitely one that you could have a look at, but unfortunately is a big cost. But Cancelo, as always, going to be a fantastic addition to any sort of right back list. FC24 is here, and Sky Coach has all your needs covered. From squad battles, champs, qualifications, and even now draft boosting, there is a long list of services they do give, as well as coaching, and also the big one everybody wants in FC24 coins. This service is fast and reliable, and you will get your coins, your boosting services, or obviously coaching in a matter of hours. If you do want to get any of these, make sure you head over to skycoach.gg, go onto the website, and when you go to checkout, make sure that you are using the code JT11 at checkout for your 5% off your orders. And if you'd prefer to do this on mobile, check out the screen right now with the QR code for their mobile app. Now into the centre backs. We've got a few golds. Obviously the standards, they are very cheap now. 12k for Arejo. We've got 7k for Rudiger, 28 for Militao, 10 for Varane, and then 34 for Koyonde, who is the second highest priced gold card in a centre back position, because obviously Virgil is going to be that number 1 slot, and I think any of them still to this point are absolutely fine, but I thought I'd feature more of the new cards, an SBC of 2, but I think for me any of them would still be absolutely fine. I do think Virgil is a must in any team. If you can get him, I would say Virgil is the kind of pinnacle of the centre-back. If you can go with a partnership or a trio, Virgil has to be in there if you can afford him. Next to him, though, we have got a few options from the special variety. We have Hincapié, a beautiful 70k centre-back with 87 pace, which is absolutely outstanding. The only thing he's missing is going to be a playstyle plus. Same as Kalulu. Unfortunately, not quite yet. Whether we see an upgrade on these two again at some point, as both of them were in the road to the knockout, that would always be nice. And the potential of an evolution. That is something that we haven't really thought about because we haven't had before. Once we start getting them 88, 89, 90 kind of evolutions, could these have a new lease of life. They wouldn't be necessarily a road to the knockout anymore. They would be an evolution, but it would add a bit more purpose to have these in your club right now for later on. Because realistically, Kalulu and Hagape could go the rest of the year with no more cards. No inform, no out of performance cards, and that's it. They just die at an 85. An evolution could bring them back. It's just an interesting concept. We also then have Tomori. I think even without a playstyle plus, he still would be absolutely fire. We have Cordoba, Marquinhos, Campbell, and also Thiago Silva. Thiago Silva's only there because I believe the SBC is done, whether he is. Let's have a quick look. I want to say it might be. No, it's got another... Oh, it ends today. So when this video is out, if you've not watched it before 6, unfortunately it has gone. But I think he's a great centre-back, especially if you are a Chelsea fan. Dynamics, cold, love the card. But I personally need a bigger upgrade for him, and I think he will get it. I feel like Thiago Silva is one that definitely will get that upgrade at some point. Sol Campbell, not a bad icon though. You've got the arguments between Cannavaro, you've got a few of the lower ones down there, but Sol Campbell for me kind of really puts it up there. Slide tackle plus, Marquinhos with the anticipate plus, and then Cordoba with the aerial plus. All of them would give you the option, but I would say you've got to have them with Virgil at a minimum. So going into the midfield then, let's have a look at what we've got. In terms of kind of the lower tier, I've gone with Tchouaméni and Llorente mainly because even though the gold cards I'd probably say are a little bit past it now, you could argue that you could still use them, but realistically there is better out there. But the big thing with both of these, they were the two main headlights for one of the evolutions, which turned them into an 87 and technically cost about 150k to do. So whether you did do them, I personally did Llorente, like I said, in the fullback wise to go into that right back, but it doesn't mean you can't put them in centre mid still. Obviously with Llorente can play centre mid and Tchouaméni is still there now. That is always a nice little extra. With Petri, I've kind of gone with her just as a very cheap option with still some very good stats, a 4-4, but mainly for the links for Bonmati, or if you go for a bit more of a kind of extra budget, you're going for Putellas. So there is some nice centre mids. You throw in then Hansen, Rolfo, you've got the Nigerian striker. You've got a lot of Liga F players that are starting to now get into them upgrades. In terms of gold men, you've got KDB, you've got De Jong and Tonale as the 0 to 100k. You've got Valverde coming in at 140, which again, whether I'd say he's worth the cost, there's a reason why he's going to be that much. The pace is absolutely extraordinary. He has got an inform that's 700,000, so not quite in this price budget, but most definitely still a very, very good gold card. When it comes to informs, as much as I'm aware, Goretzka and also Griezmann inform are breaking the game. So you can't play with him technically yet, but still a very good Bundesliga centre mid. Bellingham's still the same, 190 for his inform. I would recommend going for the player of the month if you are wanting a Bellingham card, but then naturally you could go just gold at an 86 for literally like 12,000 coins. And to be honest, there isn't much difference between them. Then you also have Grace and Modric. In terms of the centre mids, there's not a lot that I'm like, okay, that's a wow centre mid. It's not a great value. There's a few that you can get and it's like, it works for the team, but there's nobody here that I'm like, that is an absolute must. Whereas goalkeepers are quite easy. Virgil at the back with somebody is easy. But in terms of centre mids, it all depends on your front, your defence, what you want, the price budget. There's a massive selection. And then also a CDM, a centre mid, a cam. Do you need 1 or 2? Do you need 3? It's always a big choice and you've got to kind of link them all together. So for these are kind of the ones that I would personally pick, and obviously there will be more which you'll let me know down below in the comments. So then we go into the wing, and this is where I'm kind of a little bit more excited for this price budget, as last week we had a few nice ones, but now we're starting to get into a tier where I think the upfront are required. You need a bit of coins in your up front, as naturally these are going to be the players that are going to get you the goals. And yes, you do need a balanced team, but when it comes to forwards, they can carry sometimes as well. As somebody on the first month, if they've packed R9, how good that card is in comparison to cards and teams that are just not in that price budget. So in terms of the lower tier, Diana just is there all the time. She's starting to become less frequent in the higher teams, I've noticed, but definitely still as an option for Super Sub. Same with Diaby. If you're looking at very, very bottom tier, he is perfect. But now we're starting to get into some evolutions, some high-rated informs, some specials. he's not going to be as relevant if I'm being honest. Lozano looks a great SBC. I've said this with Lodi and a lot of the FC Pro live SBCs. They're relatively cheap and most definitely worth the initial investment, because if you get the upgrade on them, you could get, for instance, a 91 Lozano if he does manage to win the whole thing. Whether he does is it begs the question, but I'd still think that definitely is worth a look in at the very minimum. Even builds up the Eredivisie team as well. Then we have a couple of golds in Rashford, starting to become less and less relevant now. Obviously, he has got the Centurions, which is always relevant. You've got Salah in his many forms, which are way out of this price budget, but I would say Player of the Month is an incredible one if you can grind him. But if Mbappe does come today, then you know where you're going with it. Neymar, I absolutely love always. Skillful and just incredible going down the wing. I've noticed more people just whacking him in on 1 or 2 chem rather than even trying to go for the 3 chem, which he still manages to do as it's Neymar. It just works. You obviously then have Harry Kewell, El Warren coming in relatively cheap, to be honest. I do think if he does, I don't know if he's managing to get a UCL hero. I don't think I saw one, but like with the World Cups, we do get some that are added after. It doesn't necessarily mean just because they're not on Futbin, doesn't mean that you're not going to get one. So whether he does, that could be a huge upgrade for him. I always like a bit of Grealish, but to be honest, he is starting now to come down, as I do like him more in the central position, as naturally that is kind of where I like him, and having the Finesse Shot Plus is always going to be a great bonus nonetheless. Chiesa, great card for 200k. Again, very quick going down the wing. Has the option of that left mid, left wing or right wing. So it does add that kind of versatility to him. Same as Dembele. Very, very good card. Even this card, I'd just go for the gold, but incredible. Absolutely incredible. He's so quick. The rapid play style plus works. The only thing you could always argue is we know full well that the finesse shot plus is broken, which is where Salah really kind of takes the reins on that one. Whereas Dembele is all about that cutback. He's got the skills, he's got the weak foot, naturally has everything, but if the finesse shot's broken, it's just broken. We do have an informed Rodrigo. He is actually in the budget, as we did have a Trailblazer, which was an SBC and has obviously gone now. But again, 125k, that's not a bad steal. Seeing as though the SBC came in at like 400-500, that is an absolute brilliant card for literally, I think, was it the same rating or 1 rating under? We got him, yeah, 1 rating under. Does he get any playstyle plus actually? I don't think he has any on this one. So that's the argument behind the extra value. It's 514k the SBC for a first touch playstyle plus. I'm absolutely fine with that. And then one that is definitely relevant this year, John Barnes, incredible winger. For 258, we have got the ability to get him in the Black Friday packs if you're going to buy the double icon or the icon plus 60 players, whatever it is. He is going to be in it, as is, I think one of them's the double is a max 88 and then the one icon is a max 90. So there is a potential that he does drop his price even more. And we finish off on the strikers. So going to the bottom, we have got a few different strikers, but you definitely can see a lot of orange in here. We have got Messi and Lewandowski. Now, last time I didn't include Lewandowski or Harry Kane, purely on the fact that I don't personally like them. I think bulkier strikers, even though finishing wise is absolutely top class, I'm just not a massive fan, and it's each to their own. Some people like smaller strikers, some people like the Haaland-esque, which does fit into the kind of Kane and Lewandowski style, but with just a tiny bit more pace, and it naturally just goes down to what you want. Do you want a dual striker partnership? Do you want a 4-4-3 type where it's just a singular striker? It all depends. And I do think Kane most definitely over Lowen, that's why he's in the team, is a lot better. But for me, they're just not the strikers I would necessarily recommend. But as there was quite a few comments for Kane especially, I thought it'd be best to introduce him into this as well. Another great FC promo as well. 53,000 coins, some great stats. And I must admit, I was questioning this card because he's gone from a silver all the way to this 86 with the ability to potentially become a 90. Whether the pro does win it or not, that will be to kind of be decided. He would go to a 90 with 5-5 as well. That would be absolutely outstanding. He has got great composure, decent stats across the board, to be honest, and that's where I'm very interested to see where this card kind of goes, because the big links that he's going to be a comparison between is going to be Kolo Muani. That is a huge different comparison, especially when you do add the price into them. I know full well that you're going to look at more of, I don't know if is the height on here? we've got him at 6'1", so I think Colo is about... I want to say Colo is up there with that sort of height. 87 rated, coming in at 607,000 XP price, and he is 6'2". 4-star, 4-star, both of them. It's an interesting one. The price difference is crazy. Then we have a lot of the heroes. So, straight off the bat, Brolin, Forlan, Keane, Smolarek. They're kind of my initial buy-in sort of heroes. They're not necessarily the highest price ones, but they give you a solid striker back. We then look at Govu, little bit more expensive, like 50, 60k, nothing too crazy. I actually really like Govu, and he does have a triple threat that's just over 300k. And then we go to, personally, my favourite that I've used so far, Enzo. Incredible striker. He was just perfect. The dribbling on him was fantastic. The shooting was brilliant. You go with the Hunter and you're just maxing out as much as possible. He is a wonderful striker to get. And then really we only have a couple more in Werner. I think for 98k you're not going to argue with him. 86 rated. He is what he is. He's a great pace striker. Add a finisher onto him, you're absolutely golden. Haaland, on the other hand, I'm not necessarily that much of a fan anymore. I do like him as a card, but he's very, very bulky at this point, and I would like to see that 94, 95, 96 rated in the near future. And one icon that definitely couldn't be missed out, Van Persie. And a beautiful striker. You whack the Hunter, you've got the pace, you've got the finishing, dribbling's there, 4-star, 4-star. He is just an absolute machine going forward. First touch, playstyle plus, so it would be nice to see a different one. Again, I think a lot of the strikers just have to go with that finesse plus, as it is absolutely broken. Even potentially Travella. That again is another one that is totally broken in this game. And that's going to be the list. Let me know down below if you've got anybody else to add for under this price, and I'll catch you all next week for the next budget price. Peace.